Just in time. Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up?
David,
up?
Davo, Darren,
Hey,
Dave. I see David, but he doesn't hear me. Oh no!
What's up?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Oh, can you hear me, Davo?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, I see David sitting there. But anyhow, welcome to 3GC Dudes podcast, guys. Darren, how you feeling, buddy?
Feeling pretty good.
I know you've been a little under the weather. We don't have to get into details, but I know it's been a little rough, so Godspeed.
It's good to be back.
Yeah. Davo, what's good, man?
Not a whole lot. Just doing things.
And
Living that life.
Yep.
excellent.
Living it to the fullest, getting up and sometimes, eating.
Oh, that's great. So we're having all kinds of problems with I think we're having all kinds of problems with the video. Okay. So I remember what we talked about last week. We got a lot to talk about this week. There's a few news things, and I was hoping we could kind of talk about patients for E3, and then we're also going to have our buddy David online with us here and talking about his new project called Anfloga.
I don't think his mic's working.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
There we
you
go.
know.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm here. What's up?
Great. Well, did I pronounce that correctly? Anfloga?
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Well,
We can
I'll
talk
go
about
play
it when
towards
you're
the-
ready.
we can I figured we'd talk about some other things first for a while. Hopefully, do you mind joining us for the whole podcast?
I'm here. I'm at your disposal.
All right. We got an expert on the line here. So let's jump into some news this week that we wanted to talk about. The first thing, Davo, you had up there for us, Nintendo announcing its online play system. They previously discussed that it was going to be their first time doing a paid online service, and they've announced that it's going to be coming next year. Davo, how much is this going to cost?
$20 a year. And I think there's a 3-month and a 1 month, and I don't remember the prices. So
Yeah, it looks like it's $8 for 3 months and $4 for 1 month. So I guess I'm no business savant or here, so I guess that makes sense for them.
Yeah. Sure.
You'll be able to play online, voice chat. They're also doing something cool with the classic game selection of people paying for the service will get to download some classic titles, and they put out there Super Mario Brothers 3, Balloon Fight, and Dr. Mario. So that's pretty cool.
Are they still doing the thing where you only get it for the month?
Nope. They changed that. It actually sounds kind of like a good deal. Kinda.
That's good.
Sounds better.
That was bunk.
Other than you have to have a fucking app to fucking invite people and I guess chat, which that monstrosity of using that headset.
Did you see that diagram?
Oh yeah, I was just like, what the fuck is this?
It was really funny.
Cool. I guess I'm not playing online on my Switch, or we can use Discord or something else.
Yeah, I think that's just a way to get people not to use voice chat.
Here's an example.
Well, I don't know. I'm interested to see this app. I mean, does anybody know when the app comes out?
Probably when they roll this out.
When Splatoon 2 comes out, right?
No, I think they're changing that now. I don't know.
Well, all of the headset stuff was for Splatoon 2 specifically.
You're correct. That's right.
So I'd assume that they're going to have this launched this summer, right?
Yeah, next month or
July 20. I think Splatoon 2 comes out July 21st.
so. I remember working on Conduit and we had to try and figure out how to use the We Speak, and it was pretty tough. Like
For all two people that used it.
it had a couple of issues. For one, yeah, like no one had it. For two, it didn't. It wasn't the greatest quality. But the big problem for me was that it killed. It pretty much created latency issues. And so I think the whole let's use your cell phone trick is gonna sidestep all of that mercifully. So it may seem like a shitty idea, but at least it's not gonna like affect the frame rate of your game, which is what the Wii Speak did. So it could be worse. Let's put it that way.
But how are you gonna play your console docked with that monstrosity of a headset? If you want to,
I don't think you are.
I think you just have to use so here's the question, like how much is it gonna pick up like the TV if you have the TV playing audio and then you just use the microphone?
Or they could step into 2006 and use Bluetooth for a headset.
Yeah.
Well, the Switch does not have a Bluetooth chip, which is crazy.
I mean, they could have done a couple things. They could have put a fucking outlet. They could have put an outlet in the controller. They could have put the controller already talks with the console wirelessly.
This is Nintendo we're talking about.
But I mean, I kind of like what David was saying with the kind of offloading it to your phone. It kind of sucks, but in one way it's kind of nice because I already have a friends list built up on like Discord and stuff, and the people that I would want to talk to.
That's true. Yeah,
I have ways of contacting them that way. Because I'm not really interested in talking to randos.
Right.
I don't even know if I'm gonna even play anything online. I have played Mario Kart like once, but
yeah,
Splatoon was fun. I'm looking forward to that.
It's kind of boring. I won't lie. I don't
love Splatoon.
I don't think it's a bad game, but it's kind of boring to me. But maybe because I didn't play with anybody. But
I really like the fact that there's like different play styles that you could do in Splatoon. It's not just like straight up kill, death, assist.
Yeah,
it's like you actually it's like the one game where people actually play the objective correctly because it's like I don't know. I thought it was cool.
I definitely don't like the motion. I definitely don't like the motion controls for it, but I know it's everybody swears by. But
yeah, the big problem I had with Splatoon was that you couldn't play with your friends. Like I tried to do it, and like you would half the time, if not most of the time, be on the opposite teams, which is insane.
No, it's not insane. It's a Nintendo console.
It's like, when I wanted to play with you, I actually meant I wanted to play against you. That sounds fun. I kind of wish I could play against you guys in Heroes of the Storm, so I get my win rate up.
Scrubs.
Damn.
Throwing shade.
Bunch of scrubs.
Get good.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever really want to play a Nintendo game online. Splatoon would be fun to try it out, but I mean, I'd be probably more than happy to play it online. And then what we did, I remember doing this with Davo, probably with the Wii.
It's with the conduit.
And we would just we actually would turn on our Xboxes and do private chat through the Xbox while we played Conduit together.
I mean, that's pretty much what you're going to be doing with the cell phone now. So
yeah, I think that would be fine. Just because especially since like voice calling apps and social apps like that have come a long way since the original Wii. But so I don't see a problem with it. Say just skip the Switch headset altogether and just plug my own headphones in. But then I guess you don't get the game audio.
Oh no. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's confusing, unfortunately, but like Davo said, it's Nintendo, so go figure.
I mean, I do. I enjoy a lot of Nintendo games, but they do. When it comes to hardware, they're always kind of fucking it up.
Yeah. So anyway, another story. Sorry, I'm trying to transition a lot of things here, so it sounds stupid. Another story, Davo, you pointed out was the Witcher dev, CD Projekt. Is it CD Projekt Red, right?
Yep.
They announced that internal files have been stolen or are being held for ransom. And it doesn't sound like they intend to pay that ransom. And it's files related to their new game, Cyberpunk 2077, which is not slated to come out for quite some time.
Yeah, probably come out in another 5 years.
And they have basically said that they, are not going to pay the ransom. That what you are going to see if it gets released, keep in mind that it's an early version of the game. What do you guys think about that? That's really kind of crazy.
That's fucking nuts.
I mean, I guess that's the world we live in at the moment.
What was the? I should remember this, but there.
Let me hop off Pornhub here and steal these files. That'll get them.
It was there's a really funny name for this ransomware that got all the hospitals in the UK.
Are you talking about? Was it something Cry?
Yeah, WannaCry. Is that what this was? Did they get
no?
Hit
This
by
is
WannaCry?
no. This is I guess people just getting. I don't know, getting files. That would be funny if it was that, but I don't think it was that.
So I mean, I don't know. I think it's the right approach, right? You don't negotiate with terrorists, right? Because if you do, it sets a bad precedent, and then it just sort of it encourages it. That's my philosophy, at least. I actually thought. Did you guys see the what's the show on Netflix? It's kind of like Twilight Zone, but techie.
Black Mirror.
Yeah, Black Mirror. You know the one where they try to hold him hostage and make him have sex with the pig or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's a great example of if you did that, that's just encouraging them to do it again. You know what I mean? It worked.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy how accurate that show is in predicting something's coming true.
Yeah.
So,
Brad, I've got a question for you. Have you guys heard, one thing I heard lately about that Cyberpunk 2077 game or whatever it's called is that they trademarked the word cyberpunk.
They tried.
It's kind of shitty.
They tried.
Wow.
Did it not work?
No, they can't. How can they trademark Cyberpunk?
Well, are you confident that this is not a thing that happened?
Yeah,
because I'm not.
Let's turn to our friend Google here.
Well, it don't matter because they made the Witcher games and they can do what the fuck they want. Not biased. Not biased.
They've got a lot of street cred.
It's just kind of crazy. It's I'm going to trademark fantasy. No one can use fantasy.
I don't think they got it though.
I hope not.
That'd be crazy.
I kind of think the way it works is they get whatever they want until someone has a legit issue. They want to use the word cyberpunk to describe their other game. If that hasn't happened, I'm sure it will soon. But
maybe it's cyberpunk one word.
Well, one thing you got to keep in mind with a trademark, it's not the same as a copyright or a patent. A trademark is more about the manner of its use, and it's a lot more flexible, and it's a lot easier also for things to be trademarked. Even if something is approved for a trademark or a copyright or a patent, it's a lot easier with a trademark to get an actual trademark approved. But actually, pursuing some kind of action because of someone infringing on that trademark, you're not guaranteed some kind of victory, Okay. So, and that's sort of similar even with the copyright and patent. And I don't practice any of this, but you can have two substantially similar copyrighted or patented devices, and then there's a lawsuit that ensues, alleging, infringement. So, and then you let the courts settle it out. So they've trademarked it. They do have the trademark.
Oh, okay.
But they probably won't be pursuing anyone. Gosh, I feel like we had this issue with the trademark recently. and something else with video games. But
Wasn't it
seems
Sony? Sony was trying to trademark something and they didn't get it.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like Steam, or there's someone on Steam that was trying to trademark. Fuck, I don't know.
It's interesting though because like CG Project Red or whatever it's called is they seem like historically on the side of consumers or just people and free information, right? Also hilarious is like the sort of premise of Cyberpunk is like I remember seeing this William Gibson, the dude who wrote he had some sort of interview, like video interview. I saw a video where he's talking about how Cyberpunk is all about information wants to be free. And so here they are trademarking the word cyberpunk so no one else can use it.
Yeah, when I think of Cyberpunk, I think of, the people who are obsessed with open source software and Linux and
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like the people who run the Pirate Bay, I mean, that's kind of a cyberpunk thing. Nothing that is in reality cyberpunk is as cool as what we've thought cyberpunk is. There's a lot of cyberpunk things, but none of it's very cool.
You mean you don't love Snapchat glasses?
Yeah, I mean, even like 4chan.
When I think cyberpunk, I just think Blade Runner. And I'm sure that's what CD Projekt Red's thinking. I'm sure that's what the game straight up's going to be.
So this game is based on some other existing property. Is that the case?
I don't think so.
It's an original deal?
Pretty sure. It's supposed to be like larger than The Witcher 3.
Whoa.
And I know they were talking about it. It's supposed to have some like online thing, which pretty much killed my boner because I'm so fucking tired of online shit. But
I still should play The Witcher 3 so I could earn they earn my respect.
One of these days.
You got 100 hours?
I'm trying to put 100 hours into Andromeda, but see.
I don't think there's enough game for that.
You might get a little bored. You might get tired of fetching stuff.
Yeah. Another piece of news. We have Battleborn is going to have a slightly free-to-play version, a free trial experience. They finally realized that they should try to open this thing up. I mean, they discounted it to hell. I don't know. Davo, you put this on the list, so
yeah,
you must be interesting, I assume, but
they probably should have done it a long time ago. Here it comes. I actually own the fucking game, so because I got it real cheap in some bundle, and I was like, I'll check it out. It's not really a bad game. It's just like, as with many games, been there, done that. It's very like, oh, cool. Won't you just put out Borderlands 3? That's what people want.
It also seemed like it came out at the wrong time. As very,
but it's nothing like Overwatch, though. Really,
yeah, it got thrown in the same.
I know.
Conversation.
It plays more like a MOBA, but like a first-person.
I mean, that's even worse. The MOBA genre is really saturated. Like, you've got if you play MOBAs, you have a MOBA that you play.
Yeah, but not where you can fucking shoot sweet ass guns in first person, dog. Actually, I guess there is tons of them too now. What's that one? Is it like gigantic? I don't know. I don't keep up with that because I don't like MOBAs. So.
I mean, the MOBA genre is pretty strong. If you can get a foothold in it, you're pretty well set.
Yeah, you should probably just play Heroes or League.
Or Dota.
Yeah, Dota.
Those are the three big ones. There's a lot of other smaller ones, but they seem to be successful also. The people who play those games are pretty hardcore.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's kind of two revenue streams or markets, I think, from a developer standpoint, right? Like there's like the whole freemium model, which people are chasing pretty hard. Heard something like Bethesda's making like a new freemium game, right? But then there's also the whole like pro gaming angle, which I think everybody wants. Like all the big players want to have some sort of foothold in that arena too. So yeah, and MOBA can kind of, at least with the case of like League of Legends, you know, that's sort of like their answer for both of those markets. But you know, different developers are sort of doing it differently, I guess.
I sort of wonder if with Battleborn, I mean, it would be fascinating to read about development of some of these games that have come out, like Battleborn. Like, well, what is it? You know, like, is it a competitive MOBA type game? Is it a Destiny type game where you do a lot of co-op? Is it like Borderlands? I don't know. It seemed to be kind of a mishmash.
Well,
'Cause
Borderlands is already, it's kind of like Destiny already anyway, in a
The
way.
only time I played Battleborn was played co-op against the AI.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow,
you
it's
tried it.
got really great. Yeah, it had great writing. The story, the production was awesome. I thought it was intriguing. The characters were cool. The dialogue was very funny and entertaining. The art was pretty cool too, but the actual gameplay sucked. It was very boring. It just like, I don't know, dull. Like you had no impact when you were doing anything in the game. So that's
Yeah,
kind
I
of like
think-
another game. Fortnite. Have you seen Fortnite?
What's that?
That's from
Epic, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's Epic's shot at doing something like, you know, where they're trying to capture a free play freemium, you know, kind of MOBA-ish, you know, game that they're trying to hope will develop into a rabid community. But to me, it reminds me of Battleborn, where I just played it and I was like, wow, there's a great production here, but it's just not fun to play. So
how old is that game?
It's been
Well,
in development for a while.
It's in
I
early
think-
access this July.
yeah, it's entering early
So a
access
year.
despite being announced 5 or 6 years ago.
Yep.
So
Wow.
it's kind of crazy.
So they haven't had an official version 1 release yet, huh?
Not really.
Wasn't it? It was supposed.
I guess
to
they
be
had
like,
open betas.
It was supposed to be like their flagship game for the new Unreal Engine, right? It was like,
Real 4. Yeah.
here's what
like-
you can do with Unreal 4.
For the post Cliffy B era.
Yeah.
Oh, he's making that one game that's not free to play anymore. It's a shooter. What is it called?
Ooh, go figure.
Call of Duty.
No, it's a first-person shooter. It's more like Overwatch and
Call of
stuff,
Duty.
and Quake.
Wow. Well, you can easily see that there's a lot of entrance into that market all of a sudden, huh? I mean, Overwatch is making so much money. Like, I guess everybody wants a piece of that pie now.
And by the way, if you're not watching the Twitch stream, it's probably the best way to watch all of this.
Oh, really?
I've got the Fortnite video playing. This is a trailer that they have for this year's E3, which is insane that they're having a trailer for a game that was announced December 10th of 2011.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I played the open beta for maybe 45 minutes. It reminded me of the worst of mobile free-to-play games where it's just incessant play the game, anything, combined with just, I don't know. Here I am just shooting these guys. Doesn't really matter. The idea is you build these bases as you play. It's almost like tower defense, I guess.
Oh yeah.
So you're building your fort while these zombies are coming in waves. But it just felt like, man, do you really need a whole game centered around this mechanic? Was not that fun to me. Whoa, so that's Fortnite. Fortnite and Battleborn, two kind of cartoony-looking games that I think are destined for mediocrity.
With a,
Good luck. Good luck, guys.
looking good.
Yeah.
I don't know. My shitty
Anyone else have any
opinion-
other thoughts?
My shitty opinion nowadays is like I'm almost glad most of these games don't sound cool, so I don't feel obligated to have to try them. It's like I feel like there's
Yeah.
so much cool shit out there. It's like, oh my god, how do you keep up with it all?
It's true. Reason, like a game like this, the only reason why I'm even tempted to try this or Battleborn was they had open betas, and you had the R machine behind them. So I said, well, let's see. Maybe this is going to be awesome. And I really didn't think it was. So that might not be the demographic they're going for. I don't know. Maybe they're going for a younger crowd.
We're too old.
Yeah, we want that hardcore gaming experience.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see. I wanted to talk about, Kotaku had a very nice long form article discussing the story behind Mass Effect's development.
Okay.
And I would say David, as someone who is in game development, I think you'd probably really appreciate it.
I read the first 3/4 of that or so. It seems like the usual story.
Yeah. For someone who's not been in that world, it was really interesting. And I kind of gathered that, that probably is not all that uncommon. I think the short story of it is they were just really kind of spread too thin, and they had a lot of troubles with the actual development, like the tools that they were using to develop the game, and they had too big of a scope. So by the time, its deadlines, they just had not made the progress they needed to make.
Yeah, I mean, so what stands out to me about this story, like it's definitely a common situation, I think. But what's uncommon is this is like a huge franchise that probably had, close to a blank check, and
You would think.
They're still running into these kind of problems. So I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting to see how even the biggest games can sort of still be afflicted by the stuff that definitely happens all the time to like the less tried and true franchises.
When they originally were planning Andromeda, they really had planned on doing No Man's Sky. Like it was going to be on that scale. That it was going to be just hundreds, if not thousands, of planets that you could go and explore. And then of course and this is before No Man's Sky was even announced. So they had a similar idea. They just kept running into problems with using the Frostbite engine, and also it sounds like they were just too busy trying to actually create content that was meaningful, and they couldn't do it. And that was, I think, what happened with No Man's Sky. It was such a huge scale game, but it was just not fun. Like they just didn't have enough in the game to.
Yeah, it seems like they kind of like decided, okay, wait a minute, we need to pivot back to like making Mass Effect, the game that people like and we know works, which is kind of a bummer. But I think there's two separate problems too. Like one problem is they're trying to figure out this new engine, which the article is talking about how they had to rebuild all of this, or not rebuild, but build from scratch a bunch of stuff that was already working in the other Mass Effect games, like quest systems and animation systems, etc. So that was like one issue, and the other issue was like a design issue. Like, okay, this is a cool idea, but like, is this the Mass Effect people want? Is this fun, right? Like, it sounds great on like a high level, like just talking about it, but then when you actually start building a game, like, is this like actually like a fun game to play? And sometimes it's not, and you don't figure that out until you spend a lot of money prototyping it.
Well, one other thing that I took away from the article is that BioWare does have another big IP in development that's a new IP. They may have taken some of the resources away from Mass Effect actually for this new IP that they're trying to create. The code name for it is Dylan.
That was funny. Tell that story.
Oh, just that. I guess I can't remember the person's name at BioWare, but they wanted to name it Dylan in hopes that it's going to be as transformative as Bob Dylan's music was.
Yeah.
What?
I got a kick out of reading that.
That's high fucking hopes right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dude who just got
I mean, when
like a
you-
Nobel Prize, right? Or am I getting that wrong?
No, that's right. He got Bob Dylan just was given a Nobel Prize for
All right. So,
literature, right?
so we're gonna get a Nobel Prize on BioWare
It's gonna
6.
end world
Dylan.
hunger.
It's going to be a VR game, hopefully.
Well,
I
you
don't
and Mark
know.
will have something to play on your headsets now.
Exciting.
When are you guys gonna get together to play Bridge Crew?
Well, so Mark bought the Vive, and on the day he bought it, they announced that every Vive would come with a free copy of Bridge Crew.
Nice.
And when he bought it, he got home, or I think before even leaving the store, he asked them, how to do that. Like, oh yeah, you have to contact Vive for that. So then he gets home, sets everything up, and then he's contacts them later, contacts Vive, and they said, no, you were supposed to get that from Microsoft Store where you bought it.
Oh,
So
that's
it's just back and forth where they're telling him stupid shit. So
That sucks.
yeah. So I don't know. With Andromeda, it's cool, but damn, dude, you could definitely see where most of the time it's fine, but when there are some animation issues, they are just hard to believe that they happen like that. That they would let that.
I must need glasses because.
Well, dude, there was a cut scene where their necks are almost at like a 45-degree angle or something.
I didn't notice it. It's not like the animations were great in the old games but
they were passable for the generation, though.
I guess they were pretty bad.
I mean, it looked
they
like
weren't
these
saying they were
people
that
all
bad.
out bad.
It's just like in this one cutscene I played through the other day. Each person, like, they had a neck like this, but then a foot long.
I don't remember that. I believe you. I'm just saying I don't remember that.
It could be that, since these aren't pre-rendered cinematics, that it's sort of could possibly be different for each playthrough. I don't know though. I've never played it. I don't know anything about
Really, the only trouble I had with it, the fucking thing crashed.
it. No, that's
A
pretty
lot.
bad. That's a lot worse than an animation issue.
Yeah. I'd get like a DirectX error, and she'd be done.
Mine, it does not crash anymore for me. I think they must have patched one of those issues. Also in that article, it talks about that they actually did not have the time, and they don't ever plan to have the time to be able to do all of the animations by hand. So some of it would be like computer animated on its own, I guess, or something. I don't really understand that.
I read that. So they had like an algorithm. They wrote a program that gave you a basic emote, like you wrote like more or less what you wanted it to do, and it would put together an emoji, like a range of motion to portray that what you were trying to say. To speed up the process, they didn't do it for everyone. So I think the ones that got messed up came out of that algorithm.
Well, that's really interesting. That's super cool.
That's what I read, and yeah, it sounds cool. Like it just sounds like it needs more work.
Yeah, they
mean,
said they just kind of ran out of time to do the quality assurance on the animations. Like they would at least have somebody go back and kind of just check everything and make edits.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Yeah,
they
so,
ran
like,
out of that time.
Normally you would, in terms of like motion capture, you would totally have like, you put the suit on and the computer records all the movement. Then you would normally have an animator, quote unquote, clean it up, right? But it sounds like they came up with a system to do more than just motion capture, which I think is really cool. Like, imagine if I can just like, I don't know, just programmatically come up with a bunch of animation for my game. That's really powerful.
Because I
If
think
it works.
it would look at
The
Sorry, go ahead.
animations I know were also created from a program that would, as it would hear the dialogue, it would the mouth animations. So it's kind of fascinating.
That's cool.
I don't know. Sounds like they went back and forth on different software where they were using for some of the animations too. So I don't know if that created problems. Like they were trying to just do way too much, and then the end result was they made the game in about a year and a half.
Yeah.
Which is hard to believe.
Seems like
And
it.
you know, that's the other thing that stands out to me about this is like this stuff happens all the time, but like you normally don't hear the story. So I don't know. I think part of it is a reflection of the fact that a lot of people care. You know, there's like a huge fan base and they want to know what happened. But another thing is like somebody obviously must have like leaked all of this to the press, which I think is interesting too. And normally it seems like there's, you know, obviously corporations don't like it if their employees are talking to the press without permission. So that's kind of interesting. I wonder if there'll be some fallout or if there has been fallout for that.
This was all anonymous, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I were EA, I'd probably be okay with it because at least it might explain to people why it didn't meet their expectations. Instead of thinking that just EA didn't give a shit.
I still think people would be
It's just-
mad because it doesn't work.
Probably.
Yeah, corporations, you know, they're normally pretty inflexible.
True.
Yeah.
So
mean,
moving on. Go ahead.
Oh, these are the kind of stories that I like to read, like these
Yeah.
long form articles that talk about the process that aren't like filtered through PR, you know,
Right.
Yeah.
like the real down and dirty story of making video games.
Yeah, I mean, it even sounded like some of these people aren't even with the company anymore, which I think is interesting
true.
too.
All right, so moving on just to a little bit of hardware news. Davo sent this article that Microsoft has unlocked more RAM on the Scorpio for developers. So the hardware comes with 12 gigabytes of RAM, and now 9 gigabytes will be made available for games. That's a lot, I'd say, right?
That's a good amount, yeah.
I mean, what I guess I have 11 gigabytes of VRAM on my GTI, or my TI. Sorry.
Yeah.
But that's also system RAM for the console, also though. So you still have more RAM than an Xbox Scorpio.
Well, where does it stand in comparison to the current Xbox, Davo? Do you know?
They use 5 gigabytes, and the PlayStation Pro uses 5.5 gigabytes.
So this might be a really significant upgrade then.
It's going to take a dump all over the Pro, but it don't matter because the Pro has games. So
Gonna take a dump all over it. You heard it here first.
that's right. It's just going to it's going to sprout legs and just dump on it. But
Well, I think that brings us kind of to our last wanted to talk about before spending some special time with David's new project. Just talking about E3. E3 is next week. So Scorpio looks to be probably the biggest news story coming out of E3. Davo, do you know the schedule, or Darren, do you know the schedule for all of the events next week?
I know they're spread out. It's like Saturday there's one.
that's EA, isn't it?
Sundays there's 2. Monday there's 2. Tuesday there's 1. I think.
Well, Microsoft is on Sunday and Bethesda's on Sunday.
Yeah, those are the 2 on Sunday, and then Sony and
Sony's on
another one
Monday.
Monday.
Sony's is in the usual spot, like at night, basically not night, but
Even.
So maybe we can get together and do some special kind of live reaction stuff if you guys want to watch some stuff together, and maybe we'll just kind of record our reactions like we did for the Nintendo Switch back in the day, back 3 months ago. I guess it's been a while now, but
It's been a little bit.
it's been a bit.
that was fun. So maybe we can do that. So let's, I guess, just go around. Darren, what are you looking forward to the most from E3 this year?
Oh, just some new game announcements. You know, I'm not gonna buy the Scorpio, um, but I am looking for a reason to get a Switch. Uh, so anything like game Switch related, you know, PlayStation related, PC, that sort of stuff. I don't really have anything like uh, any particular uh, sequels that I'm looking forward to or anything like that, but there's always something. I'll probably get excited for Call of Duty because that's what I do when they show a new trailer. But
They're not getting me this time. I haven't.
we're going back to World War II, guys.
Yeah, that sounds boring.
But
I sent you guys. I sent
So
Brad my big E3 moment.
I can't post it in the YouTube chat. So
bummer.
we'll just have to I'll just have to post it to. That might not be the right address.
this one's going to be open to the public, though. So I wonder how that's going to go.
No idea.
Yeah, this is the first year that E3 is open to the public. I think your buddies at Giant Bomb were kind of telling people not to go.
Wait, it's
That was a
open
lot
to
of
the
money
public?
just to go.
Yeah, you could buy tickets to go. You don't get into
Wow.
the press conferences or anything, but you get on the show floor, so you can wait
Wow.
several hours to see a game.
That's pretty lame.
Yeah,
Or maybe it's cool. I don't know. If they
I
let the
suggest-
public
I
in a
said-
GDC, I'll be pissed.
I really wanted to go just because I think it would be awesome to go once. So I hope that it turns out well and it's really fun for people because I would like to go just to say we went, you know, like if you guys wanted to do it as a trip, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, but I wanted to
Nothing
go
else.
before it was quote unquote open to the public. Now that anybody can go, it's not.
Yeah,
cool
it's like you
anymore.
might as well go to PAX.
Yeah.
PAX is
That's true.
probably
PAX would be
more
fun.
fun for like the average person. But I feel like that really kind of well, I don't know. So when I went to E3 a couple times, I was under the impression, and this is probably like way outdated at this point, but I was told that the point of E3 is so like the big box stores have like representatives and they'll go through and check out all the games and sort of
Yeah,
use this as a way to anticipate how much to order, basically.
yeah,
And so for one thing, digital distribution is a big deal now, and that obviously is invalid in that equation. But when you start letting fans in, that really seems like it throws
well,
back.
it seems like they're struggling, like you said, to find a reason to have the show. Now,
Yeah.
especially like, you know, Sony and Microsoft, the big companies can just speak directly to their customers. They don't have to put on a big show and pay a bunch of money for a booth and stuff to have Walmart come by and figure out how many copies of their console they're going to buy.
Right.
So like, I guess them letting in the public, I guess, brings some relevancy to their show a little bit, but you know, there's already PAX. I guess around the 2000s when G4 was around and like they would like you know show the conferences on TV. That's kind of I think when it really changed from all being about schmoozing with big box retailers and more about showing people, like putting on a show for your actual customers.
Oh, dude, I miss watching them conferences on TV.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, I guess like this year,
I think E3 is still a good thing.
Yeah,
this year I have to say it's cool. Like, and I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not as excited as I was.
it's almost
in the
like they
past.
do it just to keep tradition.
There was a couple of years where they kind of didn't do it. It was, they moved it out of LA and they didn't it was like a really small. So it sounds like this, if they're letting the public go, this will be much grander and bigger than it has been, I suppose.
I think that
I've always-
I think it's cool that E3 exists, and I think that it is good for video games as a whole. I think it also creates a little bit of competition. I mean, there is going to be competition anyway, but I think that it's like the people. I think that they like to have the best conference, and like if you look at cell phones, look how big the Apple when Apple does their announcements and their conferences, and then sometimes you'll have other companies schedule similar events around the same time. You don't have it so much anymore, but that was really cool for me as a consumer. I was like so looking forward to the next big thing and like trying to figure out what was coming, and it was a lot of fun. And I think it gets people hyped, hyped for video games in general.
Yeah, there's many more opportunities now to get hyped, and the companies are now doing that on their own rather than waiting for E3. I guess that was Sony puts on their own thing every year now outside of E3. And then the game companies, they can just, they target directly to their customers.
Yeah. We got BlizzCon.
Yeah, BlizzCon, and that's been going on for a while.
David, do you have anything you're looking forward to? Any expectations?
I kind of think I don't think Nintendo's going to really announce anything. I think you already kind of know what's coming, but that's me. I'm hoping they announce the Super NES Classic. That would be cool, I guess.
Get those 1-foot cables.
Yeah.
God, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to really have a Super Nintendo Classic.
They already said they're working on one.
They did? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
never mind.
Zombies
pretty
Ate My
sure it's
Neighbors better be on there.
Pretty sure
That game
it's
was
gonna-
tight.
Yeah, but I played that on the Genesis.
I only played it on the Super Nintendo.
David, I assume you probably don't care that much about E3 this year.
Well, I guess my perspective is this is like I own a PS4, I own a Switch, so I suppose I'm more invested than I have been in the past. I guess I'd like to see some kind of cool Switch game announced because like there's so few. Like I don't know. I doubt we'll get Metroid,
Yeah.
but you never know. I
Yeah,
don't know what
you-
the
you-
hell
you sw-
like Retro's working on. Maybe they're doing something cool. Or even a 3DS game that's like isn't there a few 3DS games they're gonna show? Like some kind of weird RPG. I don't know. We'll see. Some cool games. I don't care about the like hardware so much.
You Switch owners,
I will.
What's up?
Oh, you all own Switches. How hungry
Yes.
are you for new Switch games?
I
I
just want
still haven't
Mario.
finished Zelda.
Me
I
neither.
haven't either. There's tons of indies coming out on it, but
I mean,
I don't know.
so
I sort of took a break.
I'm not
I
like
tell you right now,
starving yet, but we will be.
Yeah. I think games like ARMS and Splatoon look fucking boring, but that's me.
Did you
But-
guys try the ARMS Global Test Punch?
No, because you got to do it at a certain time because it's
Yeah.
Nintendo. It can't just
I,
be a stupid
I
ass
actually
demo. Or...
managed to squeeze a few minutes in, and I thought it was actually kind of a fun game. But I definitely imagine like it'll be questionable whether you get your $50 worth or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
But it was fun.
I'm sure it's fun. It kind of reminds me of like I guess Punch Out in a way. I don't know. Just put a new Punch Out. I don't know.
Maybe it's going to be the next big competitive game, like Smash.
That would be interesting. I mean, it seems like it has a very like rock paper scissors situation going on, and for me, that's the most interesting, and like the psychological guessing, not the like technical skill of dialing in a crazy combo. You know,
I don't know.
that's
if
kind of
it's-
why I like. That's why I like MOBAs. You know, like League and HOTS and Dota. It's like they're not mechanically like complex, but they are. There's like a very high skill cap still, just in like knowing what to do when and timing, things like that.
Um, I have no idea if this is real. I can only guess it is. I'm gonna put this in the YouTube chat. Competitive rock paper scissors
What?
is a thing in Japan.
Oh,
And this video, yeah, it's so dramatic. And this girl wins. It's an entire stadium. It sounds like when she wins, she cries, falls to her knees.
Fucking did it, dude. That's an accomplishment. Take that
People
away.
are going crazy.
I want to be the champion of rock, paper, scissors.
That's something I could win at.
That's what I'm saying. I'm fucking up.
I'll say I'm kind of excited for the Scorpio because it might be a really cool excuse for me to trade in one of my extra PlayStation 4s. And,
But you technically already have something called a PC, and all their first parties. They pretty much fucked that up. They shouldn't have done that. I mean,
Yeah, all their
no.
But
What, Darren?
Oh, I was just agreeing with Davo. Like,
yeah, why'd you? I mean, why? I mean, I guess they're thinking, well, I mean, who knows if the Scorpio doesn't do well? It'll probably be their last console, maybe. I don't know.
it makes sense for them because they own Windows, they own the Xbox, so it's like you have a bunch of different barriers to entry. You can either own an Xbox, you can own a Scorpio, or like you took the plunge, got that TI, and can just hook your PC up to your TV. You know.
I will, but I don't have a 4K Blu-ray player.
Oh yeah, see that's why I bought the S.
And I don't the S, knowing that the Scorpio is around the corner because I know it'll come out and there'll be some feature or something that I'm like, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
How many physical?
I know I
physical
want it.
movies do you buy? I haven't bought a physical movie in like
Ditto.
6 or 7 years.
For a while there, I was buying one like every paycheck, but I kind of bought the ones that are out now that I want. So I've got like 8, I think 6 or 8. But yeah, I mean, it's the best way to view like really high quality 4K.
No, yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's true.
even streaming is like it's good. Streaming is awesome, but it doesn't have the bit rate of a normal disc. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of over discs myself. Like I don't really.
Oh, I know you are. You haven't bought like.
I don't really want to own media, but it's like Amazon's been really disappointing in their 4K like video library. So, but
like
yeah, it's just the best way if you want to watch 4K movies. You just need to have a disc. So,
I mean, and then if the Scorpio comes out and you're not into it, you could just buy an S, and it'll probably be cheaper.
way cheaper.
oh, that's
Yeah.
And pretty
definitely-
much, I don't think it's solid, but a lot of people are thinking the Scorpio actually maybe $400, which would be smart.
Yeah. Well, by that time, there are 4K Blu-ray players that are just slightly below the 1S at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So by that time, they may be even cheaper next holidays, next Christmas. So
Next time Brad gets an itch to buy some electronics.
doesn't take very long, sadly.
Darren,
Sadly.
I got a story for you about old digital. So I was sitting there, I was like, I want to play Zelda, and I turn on my Switch, and it's Mario Kart 8 that's in it, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not playing Zelda because I don't feel like getting up and switching the goddamn cards.
Yeah, like there's the lazy element, and then there's also like the fact that games now, when you buy it on disc, you still have to most of the time download a several gig patch.
Well,
So I might as well just download the whole game.
you actually don't have to
So
do
I-
that for Switch, so
Oh, nice.
but at least I don't remember now.
Okay, well, I think that's about it. There's a lot in there. There's obviously everybody's going to be showing shit. There's been news about games that
Brad,
are
you're cutting
free.
out.
Brad needs to buy a new network adapter.
Where he
That
gets
is true.
fire that shit.
Just drill a hole in your floor and wire.
That's
your
what I'm
computer.
saying. That's your house. You can drill all the holes you want.
Just fuck that house up. Am
Or
I
you
still
can-
cutting out though?
Yeah. You're
Oh,
cutting
a
it.
little bit.
Yeah.
Well, since Brad's cutting out, I can talk more, I guess. Since the Scorpio will be probably, if it's $400, it'd be cool to see the Pro drop to like maybe 300. But sometimes I'm like, maybe I should get a Pro. I do have a 4K TV, and I do want to play like the new God of War. But
The new God of War does look pretty good. I forgot about that.
But I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it for me or not.
I don't know.
Especially since most pro games are still like running in 1080p, like fucking Tekken, which it's whatever. Stuff like that. Like even Nier is only in 1080p on the Pro. Getting all your 4K action on that. But that was sarcasm. Because you're not.
Also, well, let's talk about David's game if I'm not cutting out.
Yeah, you're better now.
Motherfucker.
What?
Oh, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Motherfucker. I am still cutting out?
No.
Nope. You're there.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about David's project then, okay? So, David, you have a new game called Anfloga,
Yeah.
right?
That's it.
And how about, can you tell us what it is?
So the big thing with it is this was a month-long project. My friend Vic, who runs Flat Red Ball, he is on this new initiative to try and make a new game. I don't know about every month, but a lot of consecutive months now. And each of these games are open source and free, and you can use them as like a starter project for his game engine that he runs called Flat Red Ball. So he got a hold of me. He's like, "Hey, you want to help on one of these projects?" I'm like, "Okay." And they wanted to make a game about, his underlying goal was to develop like 2D shader technology for the engine. And so I was sort of trying to think about like what kind of a really easy, what kind of like relatively simple game that could be done in a month, and also like showcase these sort of shaders. And so we decided to make like an underwater game, so we could do like displacement shaders and lighting stuff and things like that. So that's where Anfloga came from. And I don't know if it's Anfloga or Anfloga. I got the name from it's actually from an Old English poem. And I forget which one. I think it's probably like the Seafarer. But basically, there's a lot of like Old English poems that have these like themes of sort of isolation and purgatory, and those are sort of the same sort of themes I wanted to have in the game. So I tried to like name the submarine that you drive around in the game, and the planet that you go to, and the evil corporation after these Old English words that sort of mean the same kind of things. So there's a little bit of a reasoning behind the weird names, but I honestly am not sure how to pronounce them. That's my sad admission.
Well, I did play the game.
Me too.
Yeah. Did you? So my first question is, were you able to finish it?
No.
I finished it.
I
Okay.
minimized it since I couldn't save. And it's still actually on my desktop right now.
Oh, so you weren't unable to finish due to some sort of like horrible bug. It was just boredom.
No, I played about 30 to 40 minutes.
Oh, dang.
I also am getting lost. I'm like, nope. And then I get sucked back into one of them, I guess the checkpoint.
Yeah.
Davo gets mad.
And I actually get mad. I was pretty stoked that it supported X input because it was really weird with the keyboard, in my opinion. But
Oh, did you try a 360 gamepad?
I am using an Xbox One controller, so
Yeah, there's sort of undocumented support for a 360 gamepad, and I think that probably is the same as an Xbox One controller. I don't know.
yeah, it works. That's what I was using. Felt a little better to me, but
Well, so yeah, there's some intentional like momentum and inertia in the way that the player moves in order to sort of make it feel both. I wanted it to feel like you're underwater, right? Like as land animals, we don't have like amazing control of our bodies underwater. It was originally going to be a diving game, but we didn't want to make animations for humans, so we made a submarine. Anyway, so that's part of it. And then the other part is like, I think that sort of plays up this one of the big themes of like vulnerability that we want to have. Like if you have like super great control over your character, that sort of boosts your confidence. And if it's a little less one-to-one, you sort of feel more at the will or at the whims of your environment, I guess.
so what you're
So that's why it's so frustrating.
so what you're telling me is I'm playing it wrong.
No,
Because
you're
it's a
playing
little
it
bit
right.
it's a little bit easier with an Xbox controller.
What
so.
you're telling me is that I made a frustrating game.
No, it's not frustrating. I just hit walls more using the WASD.
Thank you.
The other thing I find funny, I've watched a few people play. Some people kind of play like me, but like when I had to like work on Dora the Explorer or whatever, it was like a side
Legendary work on Dora.
Yeah. So like my mindset is like I'm gonna make this like Sonic, so you can just go through it without ever stopping, right? So if you hit a wall, it's pretty frustrating. I've seen some people play Anfloga like the same way, where like they're just always trying to be going forward, and then like when they get hit anything, it's like
Gotta go fast.
yeah. So it's like, oh, that's kind of a bummer because it's sort of like an atmospheric sort of narrative game, and when I can see people just trying to get through it as fast as possible, it's like, oh, that's sad. But I get it. You know what I mean? Like that's just how life goes.
Well, I will. So here's my experience, and I've got the video of this is my playthrough that's playing on the video now on the Twitch stream. The first, I guess, the opening segment, I was kind of a little frustrated, but then I actually got really into it, and it became a challenge, and I was kind of, I really enjoyed it. I don't know. I kind of took it as a chance to get all of the crystals, all the minerals, and I did complete the game.
Yeah, there's actually two endings, and you told me that you got the better ending. The ending that you get if you get at least, I think it's 60 or 61 minerals or whatever, you get the quote unquote good ending.
Oh man!
So congrats.
Thank you. I unlocked an achievement of some sort.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you about was I noticed installing it, I had to install XNA.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah. So
and I thought that was kind of interesting because if I remember right, that was a tool like from the 360 where they promoted that as going to open up the 360 to a lot of indie games. So I didn't realize that it was used for anything still.
So
I mean, I just didn't know ever what it was used for, but it was kind of a flash from the past to me.
Right.
I was just curious how that works, like what you used it for.
Well, I'm fairly ignorant about this, but essentially there's like a handful of ways you can like render graphics on a PC, right? There's like DirectX, there's OpenGL, or there's like XNA is like a thing you could use too. And so Flat Red Ball, there's different versions of it, and I guess the one that we used is the XNA one. And I would have to have, we'd have to talk to Vic to get like a more intelligent answer about that. But I know that it is come up that like, oh, I had to install this thing and I didn't want to. So I do think it's somewhat problematic that there is this like prerequisite.
Well, I didn't think it was a big deal. I was just curious. I mean, because it reminded me of what I had seen, back in the 360 days. So I just thought that was interesting.
Exactly right. That is the heritage of it, definitely.
And Anfloga is free, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
I'll
it's
put
free.
the
And
link
you
up
can
for
actually
everyone.
look at the source code if you want, and you can download the download Flat Red Ball and basically make your own levels, totally redo what we did and make a new game from it. It's all the assets are there, all the codes there. So
So you're
see if
telling me
anybody
this is a cyberpunk game?
yeah, it's pretty cyberpunk.
Well, I
I
enjoyed it.
think I'm glad to hear that. I actually
There was some thought-provoking parts to it actually towards the end. You don't get a lot of narrative at first, but you know, it's not like a
yeah.
game with the narrative is going to be cutscenes or anything. If you're thinking that, but there is narrative to it. You just kind of have to, you got to think about it a little bit. So I enjoyed that
Pretty
though.
much. It's like I try to take the sort of like Gone Home approach, or maybe even the BioShock approach, because it's like the same approach, where there's like little logs you can find, and it's basically backstory that you're getting revealed to you as you play. Another thing I did, and it was sort of lazy, but it's a thing. Part of the story is told on the actual itch.io page where the game is hosted. I was going to originally have this as like a cutscene in the beginning, but we didn't have time, so I put it on the page so you can.
That's like a throwback to
read it.
writing your story on the manual.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I thought was kind of interesting in a weird, lazy sort of way.
Well, what is next after this? After Anfloga?
What's next? There's this. So the big game. This should be your guys' like flagship title here because it's named after Granite City.
What?
Namioki Bottle Works. That's my big unreleased title.
So
Oh wow!
are you breaking bottles over people's heads in a bar? Because that's pretty Grand City.
It actually has like some kind of similar themes to Anfloga in terms of like it's like an evil company, and it's definitely cyberpunk and dystopian.
Just like Grand City.
So it fits the mood. Yeah, it fits the theme of what we're all experiencing today, right? But yeah, you work. If you ever seen the Simpsons episode where Homer goes to the Duff Brewery and he's like, he talks to the guy. He and Barney talk to the guy who's like supposed to be in charge of like quality assurance as the bottles go by on like the assembly line. And then there's like some funny stuff that goes by on the conveyor belt. I forget what exactly it was. But then like Barney's like, "Hey, I just wanted to shake your hand" or something like that. And he's like, while he does it, like 4 or 5 horrible things go through past the guy. That's pretty much the game. It's like you're that quality assurance person, and then so your job is to like use this really awkward vacuum cleaner that sucks defects off the product line, and you also have to stamp labels onto the bottles. And then when your shift is over, there's like a bar scene that's like pretty much inspired from the game Catherine, if you ever played that.
No, I didn't play that
It's a really cool game. I like that game a lot. But anyway, that's why I'm making my game about it, I guess. So it's sort of like a little adventure game in between levels. Or another sort of example would maybe be like StarCraft 2, where like they kind of have that little adventure game element in between levels, if you remember that at all. You can like upgrade your crap and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like, you can like, we'll see how far it goes, because honestly, I haven't been working on it a lot lately. But I would like to have some sort of like little, like different subplots you can follow if you choose. So like, you could repeat play the game and like see different stories if you decide to go down that path. But right now that's what's next. Right now is Anfloga, and you can't beat the price. So, and like Davo mentioned, it's a game intended to be experienced in one sitting. So don't get in too deep.
Well, that's kind of nice. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Until you like press
So-
pause and wait forever.
yeah, Davo is going to. If this were being played through Steam, he'd have a lot of hours.
Hmm.
Anyway,
And we
like,
can find out. This is what you call the soak test. We can find out if we got any memory leaks, if it works when you come back to it.
Hold up. Yep, it's still there. Yep, moving.
Does the frame rate seem the same?
Yep.
Cool.
It's
How
still
many
there.
minerals you got? Oh, I guess you can't tell. You can't really.
I definitely have over 30 or 40 at least.
Cool. So the other thing that's interesting about this game, from my standpoint, is like I put, like one of the main inspirations was Breath of the Wild in terms of design. Like I wanted to make it like open-ended, but like you're limited by this sort of resource. So in Breath of the Wild, it's like stamina, right? You can go anywhere you want as long as you don't run out of stamina.
Yeah.
So in this game, it's like you can go anywhere you want as long as you don't run out of battery, right? But what I didn't get to was like, we wanted to make it so that you could like upgrade your battery, kind of like you can upgrade your stamina in Breath of the Wild, and then that way it permits you to like explore farther reaches than you could before, right? Which I think is a really cool concept, but we had to unfortunately dial that back in the interest of finishing in a month, and so instead we have this sort of somewhat more linear like checkpoint system. So it's kind of more like Dark Souls, I guess. Like you discover the little bonfire and then you can sort of use that as your new point of departure. But when I designed the first part of the game, I was still planning on, I was like, I really wanted to do this sort of cool thing they do in Dark Souls also, where it's like you kind of come back to where you started and you're like, oh, this is neat. This is like all one big world that's all connected. You know what I mean? Like you go out in Dark Souls and do a bunch of stuff, kill a boss, and the next thing you know, you're like back where you started and you didn't like teleport back. You like walked back. And I think that's cool. It makes the world feel more like more whole. And so I wanted like the beginning of the game to also be the end. And so Brad, hopefully maybe that seemed like what happened, but there's this tunnel that you can get to at the very near the beginning of the game. And when you start going in, it says like, no, the computer's telling you, you're gonna run out of battery if you go down here. There's no way you can go down here. And it's kind of got a little bit of like maybe like a Portal 2 element where you're like you start to not trust this narrator, like, oh, okay, well they're probably just bullshitting me and this is where I'm supposed to go. But I wanted it to be real, like, no, don't go down here. I want it to be like unwinnable if you go down there. The problem is, it was gonna be unwinnable until you like upgraded your battery, but I think it's pretty possible to go down there at the very beginning and basically break the game. So that's the dark secret of Anfloga.
well, I liked it. I was a little worried whenever I did die once and I just respawned, you know.
Yeah.
So I was kind of worried that wasn't going to happen. I was kind of freaking out. I was like, God damn, I have to start this all over again. Lose my place. So that actually was nice. That was a good idea. So
Yeah, there's a small chance you can create a situation where it's pretty tough to get yourself out of. So I'm glad to hear you didn't encounter that. It doesn't sound like either of you did, so that's cool.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, anything else you want people to know about Anfloga or the work going on with Flat Red Ball or anything like that?
No, just it's all free. It's on itch.io. Check it out. And
Yeah, I put a link in YouTube and also on the Twitch stream.
I mean, I guess my selfish, my like desire is to get feedback, right? So like, if you do happen to play it, let me know what you think, even if you think it sucks. I'm interested to know why and how to make it better next time.
I like playing without the light on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Do you even really need the light? You can still kind of see, at least on my monitor, you can still kind of see everything.
need like a gamma adjust thing. But there's there are parts where it's totally dark, I think.
You're probably right. So
But
Dave,
they're
you just
not.
need to press on.
The idea is
Keep
that
going.
well, it costs battery to use the light, so I tried to make it to where like it wasn't super hard, basically, because I'd rather have people just finish the game than you know, the intent is not for it to be like mega challenging.
it's
The
too hard
intent
for me.
is
Make it easier.
see the narrative and have this, you know, sense of exploration. So that's what I want.
Man. So I just want to end on this note that there was a journalist who was discovered to have he took a picture and his monitor was in the background and people followed the link of one of his that was open and it was like Japanese hentai and tentacle porn and stuff. And he's
Oh,
an
man.
editor for Vanity Fair, Newsweek, and MSNBC contributor.
Wow.
And he's trying to defend himself and say he was.
He was researching it.
Yeah, he said he was trying to prove to his wife that tentacle porn is real.
That's what I tell my wife all the time when she catches me looking at tentacle porn.
Imagine
Good
living in a world where you think tentacle porn isn't real, though.
Blissful ignorance.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, but then the
More of
website
the
that he
internet.
actually had, the website he actually had to open did not even have tentacle porn, but it had big ass porn, smell, swimsuit, teacher, all hentai.
Smell?
I don't know.
I don't.
Dude.
I'm gonna have to get on Google. I'm gonna have to look at
People
this
are into all
hentai smell porn or whatever.
Smell for.
Smell porn. It's where people are like ripping ass in dudes' faces.
All dudes are like cake farts. That's smell
we
porn,
probably
right?
Darren will ghost on us. He's gonna be like no part of this. So. Okay, well, maybe we should end it on that note. Hopefully next time we'll have you on, David, and we can show everybody Namioki Bottle Works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have like an early release preview, something like that.
Hey, cool.
Yeah,
We're glad to check it out.
Play it and we'll talk over it.
That'd
Be cool.
Yeah. So again, everybody who's if you're listening to the podcast, of course, we have a YouTube video. If you're on YouTube, we also have this on Twitch. And Twitch, there's going to be a lot more kind of inserts of video and websites, so you can actually see gameplay of Anfloga on our Twitch channel. That's 3GC Dudes. And if you're watching the video on either platform, we of course we will have the audio up tomorrow on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and so make sure you check out Anfloga and flatredball.itch.io. So that's flatredball.io. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for having me. See you guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. We'll see you during E3 week.
Cool. Bye.
All right, see you guys.